The Democrats and the media have been crying about a constitutional crisis. This in light of the whole, with everything going on with Elon and DOGE and Trump doing the executive orders. They don't like where it's going. So now they're shrieking about this manufactured constitutional crisis. But you know what? The thing that people have realized, and they put this montage together, that this is nothing new. They've been doing this since 2017.
We might be on the path to a constitutional crisis.
We will ask two experts about whether or not this is a constitutional crisis.
We've never faced quite the constitutional crisis that we do right now.
They are fomenting a constitutional crisis.
Yes. Are we staring down the barrel of a constitutional crisis?
This is an existential constitutional crisis.
A constitutional crisis, possibly.
The constitutional crisis alarm bells are ringing. But is anybody listening?
We're now like one subway stop from a real constitutional crisis.
We are in effect, a constitutional crisis.
Constitutional crisis. We're hearing it over and over again.
Nancy Pelosi's already said that Donald Trump is unfit for office. She said that he belongs in prison. She says that we're in a constitutional crisis. If that's not enough to begin an impeachment inquiry, then what on earth is?
Warnings of an impending constitutional crisis ripped through the nation's capital.
There are experts who are saying this is a constitutional crisis.
We are at a dangerous time in our history, a constitutional crisis that probably is the most severe moment since the Civil War.
New warnings of a constitutional crisis just weeks into Trump's second term.
And the stage is set for a constitutional crisis.
Could this signal the start of a constitutional crisis?
Legal experts say our country could be headed toward a constitutional crisis.
They're calling this a constitutional crisis.
This is a constitutional crisis?
I am unapologetic in suggesting we are in a constitutional crisis right now.
Are we already in a constitutional crisis?
Those two words, right? Constitutional crisis.
Yeah, so what has changed? Everything's a constitutional crisis for them when they just don't get their way, I guess. I don't remember them saying anything like this when Biden was in there. I thought that was kind of a constitutional crisis. They should have used the 25th Amendment on that guy. He clearly had dementia. He was clearly failing, so we didn't know who's actually running him. Who's puppeteering? He didn't even know what executive orders he was signing. That was a constitutional crisis. But unfortunately, that's just the way that these things have devolved with the Democrats.